Yeah.
Welcome
Um,
once again, David. Great to have you back.
yeah. What's new in the world?
A
I'll
good
let you
question.
start.
You're about to tell us, I hope.
Okay. Yeah, there's somebody from Holland, a girl who's been talking to me recently quite a lot for the last few weeks. I think very highly of this person. And the thing is, they sent me a link that was on somewhere on Dutch Facebook. And the thing is, it talks about Dutch history. Well, I'll basically show you what it is. The link, I opened it, and it talks about the Dutch Burkha. You know, like when they say the Boers in South Africa from Holland, who went there are from the Germanic peoples. Yeah, so they were talking about the Dutch burqa, and basically everybody in Holland was wearing a burqa in the past. And you can even see that at the turn of the century, when you see how the women are dressed in Holland, it's very shocking. Yeah, so the thing is, she sent me this, and she said, "Hey, what's going on?" And then have you received the picture?
Yes, I got it.
Yeah. And that's what she was sending. That's history. And then if you just look at 100 years ago, this is from a video of women in Holland. Just have a look at this. Now, it just makes you immediately think of Saudi Arabia somewhere or Afghanistan. Have you seen this picture? This is Holland. So
Wow.
now, yeah, it's basically shocking. So now this girl was telling, well, I went through the post. There's lots of comments and people are talking, saying, hey, thank God we changed, blah, 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 etc. Yeah, but many people have no idea what this is about. So then I went through that video is from a place called Westerklief or something, or Weiringen or somewhere. And uh, in Holland, or is that a Danish, or is this Denmark? Wait a minute. I don't want to get confused. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I was going through that place with her. Where is this place? Netherlands. It's in Netherlands. Well, anyway, yeah, the history, the official history that they're teaching. Where is this place? Because I had to translate it. Where is it called? Netherlands. Yeah, basically the women were dressed like this, and you can still see it that things started to change in the 20th century. And now the official history, what they're teaching in the Netherlands is this. Yeah. Now you can read through it, and then most people don't investigate. People just believe anything what they tell you. I would have probably believed it, in school. Well, it says that the women started dressing in this burqa, which is a Dutch word, but then the Arabs are going to say, "Oh, it's an Arabic word. Burqa is an Arabic word." Yeah, it's like today, somebody from Canada was telling me, saying, "Hey, the translations of the Quran. Why are you saying that they're not reliable and the Jesuits have played with languages?" Well,
Yeah.
anyway, they're claiming that it came from North Africa and Andalusia, possibly at the time of the Crusades. So one, they're saying possibly. Yeah, so possibly means it's just a guess. I could possibly say it came from the planet Mars. Yeah. Well, anyway, so they're saying it came from Andalusia. And the basic history that they're telling us, what they teach us in school, is that Andalusia or Spain was invaded by by the Moroccans from North Africa. Yeah. So now anybody who has a look at a simple map of Morocco, I've just been there recently, spent several weeks there, did a lot of charity work there. Oh yeah, I put a charity video on my Facebook because many people are saying, "Hey, David's making huge profits from his books, etc." So far, all the money has gone, all of it. I haven't kept anything. Yeah, I gave it all away. Especially last year, I sent it to Morocco because they had a drought there, and to Bangladesh, and because they had floods there. India did have floods too, but India is economically more stronger, and so they could survive it. So now, having a look at Morocco, here are the big cities: Meknes, Fez, Rabat, Casablanca, Kenitra, etc., Tangiers or Tanja in French, and Marrakesh. So these are the big cities. So anybody who investigates this place is going to have the shock of their life. Yeah, let me just show you an example of what type of a shock they're going to get. Yeah, So now the thing is today, it's because people look at the world today in the last 50 years. And this is what the city of Fez looks like. And they're going to tell you in historical books, this is the historical capital of Fez. Yeah, and look at the mountains, you could see green grass and everything, trees and everything to grow food there. Can you see it? It's a big
Yeah.
city, I'm guessing a million people. Now you go to the same place 100 years ago, what the hell do you see? Oh, those walls that I've just sent you now are in the first picture. They're in the center. Now, this is the same place. There's no houses around the walls. There's no vegetation, nothing. Those walls were like just built around that time within about 30, 40 years. So the city is basically not there. What the hell's going on here? So now let's look at another city called Meknes. Yeah, Meknes is another city. Let's have a look at Meknes today. And what will we see Meknes today? We will see Meknes today. Basically, I'm guessing about 500,000 to 1 million people. Here is the city of Meknes. But when you look at the same city, the city of Meknes, and in the middle of that place, somewhere in the middle is this place here, where they say is the historical building in the center. Yeah. So this is Meknes. Now, so you can see that there's no room there. It's a big city. You go to the same place just over 100 or 150 years ago. Yeah, you have a look. You'll see there's nothing there. The people have just arrived. There's no greenery, nothing. That building there, which they're saying is historical, looks brand new. You know, after sometime in the 1800s, late 1800s. So we got a genuine problem here. So now another city that people talk about is Casablanca. So let me just show you, here is Casablanca, and you can see it very well there. It's a city, they say 5 million up to 10 million. They're not even sure, you know, how many. That place that I've just sent you there, Mir Sultan, let's have a look at the same place. You know, 1912, look, just have a look at the same place. And you're going to soon start thinking, what the hell is going on here? Can you see it? There's nothing there. Yeah. So we've got these serious problems of the history that they're telling us. So now the Dutch Burkha mysteriously came from this North Africa, Morocco, and the Moroccans are supposed to have invaded Spain. Excuse me, we can't even find Morocco. Or some people are not going to be satisfied. So let me just open up a few more things and let's go deep into this. Yeah, I really went deep into this because somebody from Israel turned around and questioned me saying, hey, what about the Moroccan Jews who are in Israel? I think there's several 100,000 of them. They're a big percentage of the Jewish population in Israel. So the thing is now we can't seem to find Morocco. Yes, so now we got a genuine problem. So now they're telling us that this burqa, yeah, this entire fashion, yeah, which was in Holland, yeah, doesn't exist. Yes, doesn't exist. We can't find it. Yeah, so now I went through many cities in Morocco and I found the same thing. They don't seem to exist. Yeah, let me just send you other pictures to show Morocco. Let's see if I've got them in front of me. Yeah. Well, basically, yes. So now let me show you how a large percentage of the people in Morocco 100 years ago were living in tents. They call these tents in Moroccan Arabic today khima. Many Moroccans will know this from their grandparents, and their grandparents told their parents. So now let's have a look at Marrakesh city in 1910. That you can basically see that it's a ghost town. It's a village in 1900, several thousand people. And they are telling us in the history, they're telling us some guy, let me see now, his name is Ben Yusuf. Ben Yusuf Tasha Fin Ben Yusuf invaded Spain, yes, 1,000 years ago. Bloody hell. And he was like the founder of the city of Marrakesh, and he brought thousands of soldiers, God knows how many. He invaded Spain. Invaded Spain with how many people? Let's see how big his army was. Yeah, so I'm just saying he conquered Valencia and all these places. You know, Valencia is just south of Barcelona. Barcelona. His name is Tashfin. Sorry, I thought he was Tashafin, or maybe that's maybe I got it wrong. I'm sure somebody Moroccan told me that. So then I turned around and said, how could this be possible? We can't even seem to find Morocco. 1,000 years ago, it's there's going to be nobody there. Yeah, and Morocco's population in 1900 is supposedly around 3 million. Today it's about 40 million, I'm guessing, or 30 million. Morocco's population in 1900 was only 7 million people, according to what they say. So now, according to what they say, it's 7 million people. Now, the thing is today, now, if you look at Morocco's birth rate, Morocco's population right now, so in 100 years, Morocco's population, yeah, it's about 40 million. It's 37 million. So it's gone up by about 100, 200, 300 or 400%. So now Morocco's population in 1800, let's see, in 1800, the estimate should be about, 250,000 people. How many people were living in Morocco, yeah, 1,000 years ago? We can't seem to find it to exist. We're going to have a similar problem, yes? 7 million people? Yeah, 1 million people in the year 1800. Yeah, so there's only 1 million people there. So now, where is this so-called Muslim invasion of Europe? It doesn't seem to make sense. So in the year, sorry, I got the data wrong for 1800, not 200,000-300,000. It's 1 million people. So out of 1 million people, let's take away the elderly, the women and the children. We've only got 250,000 men, 250,000 men. Yeah, 250,000 men. They've got to look after their families. You can't put 250,000, 250,000 in the army. They've got to, yeah, at the most you could bring 50,000 soldiers to invade Europe. This history is just a joke. It's nothing but a lie. So now we've got to seriously answer, where did this Dutch burqa came from? It must have come from Holland. So now I thought from the video, I sent you a screenshot. Yeah, I'll send it. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Let me send it you again. For this video specifically, I thought I'd just do some investigations because this girl asked me. Yeah, I turned around and thought, hey, because she turned around and thought, hey, it came from North Africa, etc. Yeah, and from so-called Muslim Spain and the so-called invasion. I can't find this history. It's a lie. If somebody is going to say to me, hey, people invaded England, yes, from Antarctica or the North Pole, I am going to go and investigate the North Pole. And you know what? I can't find any people living in Antarctica or the North Pole. So this means the European invasion of the Arabs from Morocco is a lie. It's a total lie. Not only this, Moroccan history is a lie. Now we've got another problem. Where did these people in Morocco come from? The country seems to be empty 200-300 years ago. So now this place in particular, yeah, I investigated this place in particular of the so-called Burkha. Yeah, Wieringen or Wieringen or something in Holland. Yeah, so let me show, this is the name. And what did I find? Yeah, what did I find about this? Yeah, they found so many Arab coins in this area. And I think Wieringen is an island because somebody today posted on my Facebook, somebody asking about these Dutch islands, municipality in Holland. Yeah, is it an island? I'm just checking. Yeah, is a municipality? Is it an island? Let me see. Yeah. Now the strange thing is, yeah, they've got Arabic coins there. Yes, it's an island. Yes, separated from the mainland. Yeah. So now because in the 19th century there was a lot of floods. Yeah, so now a lot of things are buried. But we've got a strange thing here. We've got all these coins there, and what is the official? These coins came from the Arabs, North Africa. Wait a minute, I've just been to North Africa. The photographic evidence. These coins don't exist. No, I mean these Arab places don't exist. Morocco doesn't seem to exist. 1,000 years ago. So we've got these coins, which they're claiming, 800 years ago, 500 years ago, 600 years ago. Look at them. Coins, swords, decorations. Yeah. And the thing is, then they're going to say the Vikings dropped them off there after the Vikings pillaged North Africa and all these other places, the Muslim Andalusia. Yeah. And they can't seem to exist it. They're going to say these things, the people buried the money, but that doesn't make sense. They didn't bury the money. The thing is, because there's regular floods there, and they're saying the people buried the jewelry and everything, it's got things like, there is no God but Allah and everything. It just goes on and on. So now the thing is, this shows that the history of the Quran is actually European history. You see? Yes, it's actually the history of Europe. And they're lying. They're lying. This Arab history is not Arabian, but European. It is Muslim history is actually European history. You see? Any questions or anything you didn't understand?
Well, I think I got the main gist in terms of that they didn't have the army necessary to conquer. So again, it's the other
There's
way
no
around.
people there.
Sorry?
You can even see that
Yes.
the people have just arrived. I sent you a few pictures. Let me just
Yes.
send you many more. It's totally, it's like if we don't solve these things now, I'll tell you why I thought I'd bring this up, because there's something else now. There's riots in France and
Yes, I was
Holland
just
and things like this.
I was just thinking about that. This makes it particularly relevant to
Yeah.
kind of resolve the whole situation and really show how everyone has been
Yeah.
tricked and how these groups are artificially used against each other
Yeah.
when
By the way, people sent from Holland, this Dutch girl who sent me this, she mentioned, and her friend sent me videos of unidentified people who look like secret services like FBI, CIA, FSB or the KGB. Yeah, people coming in and out of cars, just wearing hooded tops that look like teenagers, were joining in protests, causing a lot of damage. Yeah, so these things are more planned, and it's during a so-called Muslim festival. Yeah, and the thing is, I made a short video on that. Yeah. Well, let's check this out. Yes, a boy in France has been shot by the police, and then the car crashes within a few seconds. Yes, it happens at 8:19 a.m. Yes, this week it's June 2023. You can check this. The French prosecutor, official police and government officials have said this can be found in the cameras that the police did the shooting and the car crashed at 8:19 a.m. in the morning. And our beautiful global media is telling the world this shooting took place of a man called Nahel at 8:19 a.m. Yes, and the car crashed at Place Nelson Mandela, 8:19 a.m. The shooting mysteriously took place in Nanterre in Paris, in a place called Hauts de Seine, and if you check it on a map, the shape is mysteriously the shape of a moon, or a crescent moon when the Muslims do Hajj, and this crescent moon was seen on the 19th of June this year. This happened to be the second shooting this year, or the second famous one. There's been 13 deaths from other shootings, mysteriously 13. But the second shooting, it's known as the twin shootings, and it's causing protests. Remember the Twin Towers and the 19 hijackers of the planes? More information is in my books about that. Yeah, it's nothing suspicious. 19. Here is the official history they're going to be teaching your children and grandchildren, Wikipedia. Why did the shooting take place? Because the police in France have done several shootings, and the background to this started when there was the shooting on July the 19th of 2016 of a man called Adam Traore. Yes? And after that, there was a major protest and riots at that time. And this is a continuation of these type of events, but the first major one was July the 19th, 2016. But the scam is not over yet. 2 weeks before Nahel was shot, a 19-year-old man from Africa was also shot. He just happened to be 19 years old. And when the riot started after Nahel's death, yes, the AFP, Associated French Agency Press or something, their main news, reported the story. yes, of what's going on, the violence and all these things, the photographs, and they published it at 2:19 a.m. in the morning. Many news channels were very suspicious, such as ABC News. They showed a video of the shooting and they said it's 19 seconds long. When the French government held a minute's silence because of the shooting of Nahel, France News 24, an international news channel, yes, reported this news at 11:19. Oh, nothing suspicious about this. After the shooting, they had to make sure there was security. So they made sure there was a curfew in France. And they told the world it's at 9 p.m. But the world, of course, uses GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. So this means the curfew is at 1900 hours. That's what the media told everybody. 1900 hours, French curfew, 19. When the riots took place, people said hundreds of people were arrested, and 19 of them were famous because they were detained for the involvement with Nahel's mum, this boy's mum. Oh, 19 of them, of course. Now, when the global media announced that the French government was going to have thousands of police officers to make sure that there's no violence during the Crescent Moon Eid festival after the shooting in the Crescent Moon area of Nanterre or Hauts de Seine, yes, the Associated Press, who are one of the biggest, the medias around the world, yes, the Associated Press, they reported this at 9:19 a.m., at 19 minutes a.m. Nothing suspicious about this. Well, let's not forget, Building 7 on September the 11th, the Twin Towers in 2001, the BBC reported that it had collapsed and it had been destroyed even before it even happened. And when you look at the news, the way they're reporting it and releasing it on the 19th, and many things, it's suspicious. Oh, no, nothing suspicious about these things. More information is in my books. I cannot give all the information in one video. Yes, a list of my books is with this post. Yeah, if you've read my books, you will understand 19 and the connection with this number, with the number 33, what many people say is allegedly the highest degree in many secret organizations. So this is what these secret organizations are doing. They're in public. Yes, and you can see they're doing things and the way they're reporting things. It's time to wake up.
Avoir tous deux sorti leurs armes et les avoir pointées sur le conducteur pour le dissuader de redémarrer en lui demandant de couper le contact. Au moment où le véhicule a redémarré, le policier situé près de l'aile du véhicule a tiré une fois sur le conducteur. Le véhicule a poursuivi sa route, passage Arago, avant de s'encastrer dans un élément de mobilier urbain, place Nelson Mandela, à 8h19.
They want you to believe them. They want you to do violent behavior and violent actions, some of these people. Don't believe them. Don't resort to violence. This is what they want. Then they can bring in more controls and take away more of your freedom. And finally, I was inspired to make this video by someone who I like very much recently. So that's why I made this video. The thing is, but let me tell you something. Now the European authorities are hiding something. Everybody knows when they're telling us that the Muslim population in European cities is 2, 3 or 4%, it's actually a joke. This is a genuine joke. I'm in England, in Manchester, Birmingham, London, the 3 biggest cities. If anybody is going to say the Muslim population is 2, 3 or 4%, they're lying. If they're going to say Paris is like 4 or 5%, God, everyone knows that's a lie. Marseille is a lie. Yes, Rotterdam, Amsterdam, Berlin, Frankfurt, all these other cities that are in the region. In many of these cities now, it's going from between a quarter to a third. Yeah. So now the thing is, if the world doesn't figure out the history, then we are going to go backwards. In the next 100 years, there is genuinely going to be a clash of civilizations and a genuine crisis, because the Muslim population, yes, they get married, they have 2 to 4 children now. Yes, I'm not sure what it is. The statistics and the data is a total joke. I'm sure it's a blatant lie. Yeah, I'm just going to call it a joke because, I don't want to get in conflicts with people. Yes. Now, the thing is, it's okay if you're having 2, 3, or 4 children. Now, the non-Muslim population, yes, and many people aren't getting married. And the thing is that the population rates are so low, they've become ridiculous. Now, the thing is, many people are worried. There are many people, if you went to right-wing websites who are now, they've been saying it for years and they're still saying it, saying, hey, the time is going to come. Now, we don't want something like this to happen because the world has become global. Yeah, globalization is happening everywhere. Now, but this is my personal opinion. When it comes to historical topics, I think the Europeans are more intellectually educated in these subjects compared to the North Americans or anywhere else in the world. What happens in Europe is going to affect the world. Yeah, like for example,
Yeah,
in
because
Hungary.
if the Europeans don't remember and figure this out, who else will? That's a good point.
Yeah, actually, anything that happens culturally in Europe affects the world. This is something now. Now, the thing is, it is a fact that the Muslims are not integrating. It is a genuine fact. This is a fact, no matter what anybody says, that Angela Merkel, did she try? And her government, they tried. But the thing is, when it comes to Islam, the people, a larger percentage of the people genuinely believe in the Quran. Yeah, they believe in the history. Now, the thing is, and they're still saying, hey, that the New World Order has lied, and this New World Order is several centuries old, and they are causing this mess. So this is another reason why the Muslims are not integrating. What does integration mean? The Muslims get married with their Muslim certificates outside the system. The Jewish population does this too. Yes, up to a certain extent. The Muslims are, up to half of them don't use the banking system, and because they don't want to get the interest rates because the Quran bans it, and that's why they're now the Muslims per family are on average economically better. Now, this is something that many people are not happy with. If people don't want to be happy, that's one group of people are becoming more economically successful because they calculate their finances in a different way. Then this could cause conflicts. Like many people said this about the Jewish people who lived in Europe early in the last century, because the Jewish people planned their finances similar to the Muslims. Now, the thing is, in Europe, if this history did not exist, I would not be speaking about this. The actual evidence shows that Islam was in Europe. It was the Germanic people's ancestors, Holland, the French, the Germans, the Austrians, the Huns, yes, the Danish, the English, the Scottish, the Scandinavians, Norway, Sweden, Finland. Their people was the center of Islam globally just 200-300 years ago. This is what the evidence shows, that the people who are the current Muslims in North Africa and the Middle East, they seem to the Islam seems to have come to them only recently, and it looks like the Islam actually came from Northern Europe. The evidence shows, and the thing is, like for example, the word burqa, I put it in one of my books, like a lot of like somebody was asking about the Quran, about the words in the Quran. Now, many people, if you actually study the Arabic words of the Quran, just the Quran, you are going to find almost every single word. There's only 400 words, yeah, and they're in the past tense, future tense, or something in the Quran. Let me just find this. How many words? Almost every single word is found in the old Germanic languages. So therefore, we can say the Quran is in Germanic. Yes. There is no proof it is Arabic language. Yes, it's just a word. It's like I can call you European, I can call you German, I can call you Austrian. Yeah, I can call you Hungarian, I can call you Germanic, I can call you Slavic. This is a matter of opinion. Yeah. Now the Quran has got 400 words. Yeah, that's all. Yes, and root words. Now the Quran has got these 400 root words, and you will find every single one in Germanic. And another thing is, many people don't check. Most of the Islamic manuscripts, yeah, are actually in Europe. And a lot of the Quranic manuscripts are in Europe. A lot of them, many of them that are advertised, yes, are not genuine manuscripts. Like, for example, like many Muslims, I think they're looking in the wrong place. Like, for example, when they're looking for Quranic manuscripts. But if you told anybody and said, for example, have you looked in, let's say, Russia and Eastern Europe, like 400 words. Those 400 words, you're going to find them in Germanic, almost every single one. Yes, so then you could say, hey, this is Germanic. But then again, you're going to find those 400 words in Slavic. So then you could say, hey, the Quran's in Serbian, the Quran's in Polish, ancient Polish or ancient Germanic or Old High Germanic. So the Serbians can say, hey, the Quran is our book. The Germans can say, this is ours. Yes, there's no, most of the North Africans didn't speak Arabic. It was only taught in school only recently in the 20th century, and they picked it up from there. Many people did know Arabic, but not the modern Arabic. That is a fake language, same like French. But anyway, here, let me send you, you'll be shocked. You'll be thinking, hey, what the hell? Why don't people know about this? This is from a museum in Russia, which the Krachkovsky collection, 19th century multi-volume Quran, and it shows you over the past 25 years the Quran has 6 ancient Qurans and Quran manuscripts. The dating of the history is a forgery, and the story of how they found these Qurans is another joke. Yeah, it's not 6, there's more. I found it, the first page. The National Library of Russia, yes, has not very big, but an interesting collection of 240 Quran manuscripts. What the hell is going on here? We're talking 240? That's more than what, that's possibly more than what a country like Tunisia could claim, or a country like Algeria could claim, or Morocco, and they're supposed to have been Muslim for 1,000 years. What the hell's going on here? You know, yeah. Complete manuscripts around 50. Sorry, I might have got that figure wrong, but what the hell's going on here? And then they're going, where the first 9 Qurans came to the library as a collection of Peter Dubrovsky, Piotr, who spent many years in France. Excuse me, he brought these European manuscripts. They came from France. Mm-hmm. What were these Quran manuscripts, ancient Quran manuscripts, doing coming from France? And the library of the Abbey of Saint-Germain-des-Prés. It's because the Quran was all over Europe. The history of the Quran and the Burkha and Arabic is only recent. I mean, we rarely hear of a story, where we hear, people in North Africa saying, hey, we've just found, ancient Arabic coins, 1,000 years old, 2,000 years old, or anything. We're always hearing stories everywhere, throughout Holland, throughout Germany, throughout France. We've just found a collection of Arabic coins in this village. We've just found them here. We've just found them there. We've found them in Poland. We found them in Ukraine. We found them, everywhere. So what the hell is going on? And then, like, for example, let's have a look at this. Here's Chartres Cathedral, the entrance. Yeah. Now, if you went to Al-Aqsa Mosque, which people want to knock down on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem because they seem to think it's some, Arabic monument, you go there and you'll find the masonry is exactly the same without the statues, of Christianity. So then, then it makes you turn around and think, hey, this Al-Aqsa Mosque, oh, by the way, the European churches have been modified, but many people don't seem to understand this, Let me just show you a classic example.
May I ask you a side question, just if you have a look at it? I'd be interested, because we just had a tour of it, St. Stephen's Cathedral in Vienna. Because sometimes you mentioned they are modified, just in this particular case, it's so, the tower and the building itself is pretty huge, and doesn't seem to be a multi-story building. And also the ornamentation is pretty advanced, although we even saw at least one plaquette inside the dome where it actually showed, something about some kind of a royal or important individual. And then the sign, and I will pull up this image, actually was a star and a moon, star and moon and not a cross. So that's also
the star and the moon, doesn't represent Islam. Yeah, specifically, that's another long story. Yes, the star and the moon, because these are symbols that have been applied today. More, it's like the thing is, the term Muslim has only been there for the last 100 or 150 years, or before that they were called Mohammedans, and the word Mohammedan is found in the Bible, in the Old Testament, after the Tanakh, the first 5 books. Yeah, after starting from the prophets all the way down to Maccabees. Yeah, Macha is Machaba, or Father Macha, or Macha Emet, or Mahomed. Now, the strange thing is, like we mentioned this before, that the Huns, yes, were classified as Mohammedans. Yes,
Right.
why were they classified as Mohammedans? The Germanic people. So now the Germanic people, if no solution is found and they don't wake up, then they cannot go to their Muslim neighbors and say, "Hey, this is our history. We've woken up." Yes, the history that we've been told is just a joke. It's like no, it sounds like a joke that they're telling us that we've got these Arabic Qurans in Arabic throughout Russia. Yeah, and then they're just telling us it came from here, it came from there, anywhere except Russia. That's what they're going to say. You know, like all these Arabic coins in Russia. Oh, they came from Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Iran. Yeah. Oh, you know, the coins that ended up in Holland. Oh, they came from Morocco. Oh, the Moroccans found the gold from you know, Guinea, Gold Coast, that region in East Africa. It just, because then when you get to Morocco, the Moroccans are going to say, "Hey, we can't seem to find these coins." You see?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, for example, you know, like here, like this is like, look at the Al-Aqsa Mosque. There, again, the last picture I sent you, it's not as tall as Chartres Cathedral, or let's say that Cologne Cathedral. Yes. So now this means it looks different at first, but now let's have a look at in India. Now we're going very far east now, Ahmedabad Mosque. So we're going to find the same thing, yeah, because it's warm there. It doesn't have the walls, but it's basically a Gothic cathedral. Now the thing is, let me just show you Cologne Cathedral, and then you'll be able to figure out Stephen's Dome in Vienna. So now here's 2 pictures, yeah, of Cologne Cathedral. Professor Fomenko pointed this out, and thanks to him, I know this, and it made me figure things out. Look at picture 1. It's the early 19th century, just 150 to 200 years ago. They're actually building the 2nd floor. And then picture 2 is the second half of the 19th century, and they've got it done more. Yes, and then the finished product, what we see today, were hay. Yes, they've added the statues, all the decorations. Now, this is very important. I'll explain to you why. Yes, now the first thing is, when we see, this is just recently, just over 100 years ago, and they completed it by the 20th century. So it means the towers weren't there. The so-called free energy towers, they weren't there. Yes, so now we have to focus on the 1st floor. Now, when you look at the building, you can clearly see that the final picture, there is 2 floors. Now, when you walk inside the cathedral, what you will notice, this is why there's parts in different groups of masonry, that they keep these secrets. Now, let me just show you that if you're going to have a look inside the cathedral, let me just show you what it will look like inside the cathedral. Oh, I've just opened a web page. It says inside 19 of the most beautiful cathedrals in the world. Anyway, forget that. Let me just show you now, and you will realize that they've added on the 2nd floor. Yes, most of them were added on, you know, when the Vatican took over. Some of them may have already been finished. Now, Stephen's Dome is something that I've not investigated the 2nd floor. Now, when you look at this picture carefully, if somebody magnifies it, you will notice that there's 1 and 2, and then it's like to go onto the roof, it looks like 3 floors. So they've extended it. They've extended it. This cathedral is which one? Let me just show which one. This is St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City. But they've used, if that is recent, they've used the construction techniques that are in Europe. Let me just find an older cathedral, or somebody will say, hey, St. Patrick's isn't that old. Or maybe it is, we don't know. Cathedral inside, let me just see, in Europe, because I just did a quick investigation of this, or many of them, they added on the second floor. Now, this is something that's really good if they did add it on the second floor. I'll tell you why it's really good. Yeah, because one, many people don't know this about construction, because I've done construction, several projects in the last 10, 20 years. I'm very used to what is necessary for a construction. Cologne Cathedral, I found it. Copy image. Let me just send it to you. Now, this is the interior of Cologne Cathedral. Now, you can actually see that there is the first floor, then they've extended it to the second, and then the ceiling just to make it the third. Yeah, so that now I will tell you why the construction of this is amazing. Yes, why? Because if anybody knows anything about construction, first you must do the foundation of a building. Now, when you do the foundation of a building, you've got to check that there's no landslides, nothing, and the foundation is strong. And then you've got to dig underground to make it stronger. Yes, for the base of the building. Now, when we look at the photographs where they did the second floor in the 19th century of Cologne Cathedral, the foundation was already there. They didn't destroy it. They just added it on. So now when they added it on, it means that the foundation was very strong for you to actually double the weight, or, put double the things. It might not be double the weight. We don't know what the actual components are. What they tell us might not actually be reality. So now but the foundation is very strong. Yes. And another thing is many cathedrals weren't finished. Now, this story is not mentioned anywhere. Yes, apart from the Koran mentions it. This is in my book in Jerusalem is in Europe, but that story is too long to mention. But anyway, I don't want to divert from the Holland thing. Now, the Holland thing is totally suspicious. So now we get, it's like when I investigate, what do you call it? Yeah, there's so many places, Viking treasures. They just keep saying Viking because it suits their story. They sailed in their ships to Miklagard. Yeah, Miklagard, I remember Henry Treese, the road to Miklagard, and Vikings Dawn, Vikings Sunset. It was one of my favorite sagas that I read. And the road to Miklagard, or the city of Michael, road to Miklagard. Yeah, I used to read these fairy tales. They were amazing. Henry Treese, the road to Miklagard, Vikings Dawn. If you're from some people say that my family is boring. Yeah, if you're from a boring family like mine, then when you're young, you read these classical books or modern classics, and then you hear the stories of the Viking invading, attacking Muslim settlements along the Mediterranean, and Orthodox settlements and things like that. And they brought back these Arabic coins to Northern Europe. We can't find Morocco. It is not there. We can't find it. Casablanca.
So just to be clear, it's likely that the whole Viking story, at least the way it's presented, is a cover-up, also because recently there has been this series called Vikings, very popular. And so it just makes it even more likely that, what are the Vikings from your point of view? How could they be described?
The Vikings, Flamenco went through it a lot more. Wilkins and everything. And then in their sagas, their leader is called Orth, yes, or Arthur, or Attila, yes, or Attila, like the Arabs say. It's the same name. Yes, one of their great leaders. Anyway, I don't want to divert. Let's have a look at this. So here is Casablanca. Once again, there's nothing there, guys. Yeah, and they're telling us, went to the Muslims came and they brought their burqa to Europe. Here's Casablanca today. Yeah, and then we told these stories. Yeah, the burqa is European. It's the other way around. History is the other way around. Islam is European. It's the other way around. Yes, and I saved that post on Facebook. Yeah. It's because someone special to me sent me this, so that's why I made sure I found extra time just to reply to her. Yeah. So there's many comments saying, thank God, blah, 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 and whatever, the Muslims brought it here, the barbarians, etc. No, we can't see this. Let's see the history of Fez. Yeah, because this is very important. Fez, Muslim invasion of Spain. This is so important. Oh, let's check this out. They're turning around and saying these Muslim sultanates, yeah, what do you call it? The conquest of Spain. Conquest of Spain started by Arab soldiers of what do you call it? Fez is a symbol of Muslim excellence. You could just read through all this and that and everything. You know, the soldiers got together in Fez. The city doesn't seem to exist 150 years ago. Just you know, several thousand people. Yeah, and they say Muslim forces. 711 Muslim forces invaded India. 711. Whoa, how convenient! It sounds like they even invented the data. 711. Fez invaded Spain. And then if we can't find Fez 150 years ago, where are we going to find Fez? You know, oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, they turned around and said, just in one battle, they say eight Amazigh and Berber soldiers, thousands of them came, but let's see now. Fez Sultan or whatever. I'm trying to find it. The conquest of Muslims, Arab and Berber forces. Let me just see. The fall of Toledo. Well, anyway, they've got these things. They say the Muslim army, sounds ridiculous, came from Damascus, Syria. They conquered North Africa, blah, 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 came into Morocco, whatever, and then they came into Spain. But then when we look at Fez, here is Fez today. Yes, and here it is. Yeah, 100 years ago. And let's imagine the same place 200 years ago. We're not going to find anything there. Yeah, and then if we just look at the type of people who were living in Fez when the French went there, yeah, you know, 100 years ago, and everything, and 150 years ago, the type of people we see, yeah, are these type of people. And medieval Europe, they told us, was, you know, basically a toilet hole. I think that's a lie. Medieval Europe was more advanced than Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. It's just a total joke. And then when you look at these people who are in North Africa, yeah, when you look at their style with the fez hat, it makes you think of the Balkans. The Croats wear these fez hats. Yeah, because I remember there's a Croatian song, Moja stikla Severina, and they're wearing the same red hat, Severina, Moja stikla, 10, 15 years ago. Yeah, I do listen to a bit of Croatian music now and then. Yeah, so we see these people, and you can see they've just arrived. Now we've got another problem. Where did they come from? That's another thing. Yeah, these cities in Morocco seem to, the settlements, we're finding all these Arabic coins and everything, and they're just telling us that they came from North Africa. And the story of North Africa, I'll have to mention it next time to you. That's another crazy, pathetic story of you know, gold coins coming from places like Timbuktu and what's his name? And they say a guy called Mansu Musa, or the word Musa just means Moshe in Hebrew, modern Hebrew, or it just means Moses. And these coins of Moses, a guy called Moses was giving out all these coins that say there is no God but Allah. Oh, mysteriously, similar coins are just found throughout Northern Europe, but we can't find them in Morocco, where they claim that these coins came from Morocco, went into Spain, and then they ended up in places like Holland, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia. The story sounds like a joke. How the hell are they going to get to Estonia? And they're found in every settlement. And then they say that the Dutch, yeah, their ancestors, the Germanic people, used these coins with "there is no God but Allah" as decorations on their necklaces. Oh, by the way, there's two types of coins that have been found in Dutch settlements. One is Arabic, and the other type is Carolingian coins. Yeah, in bronze, copper, and other things, very rarely in gold and silver. Yeah. in the Germanic settlements. Now, the Carolingian coins, they've given the title Carolingian after Carolus Magnus, a fake name for Charlemagne, which they tried to pronounce on purpose, Charlemagne. It's not Charlemagne, it's Charlemagne. Yeah, and Charlemagne just means Solomon, Suleyman. Yes, and what we can see from his story, yeah, they turn around and tell us that what did they tell us? Yeah, about this Charlemagne. Yeah, it's totally suspicious, just fake history that just sounds like a joke. Yeah, this is what they tell us. Yeah, that they turn around and tell us that oh, Charlemagne, he was a different King Solomon, this one, and then they say, oh, his dad was King David. Oh no, this King David was a new one. Sorry. Oh, and then they say, oh, they call this place France and Germany, the Holy Roman Empire. They called it Israel, but they called it the New Israel. Ah, yes, that's why Professor Fomenko has even said, yes, it was the New Israel. It was originally Judah when they separated. So the thing is, this is in official history. So I could turn around and say, what do you call it? I could say, what's his name? Macron? Oh, he isn't Macron. He's the new Macron 1,000 years later. Don't you know there used to be another Macron 1,000 or 2,000 years before him? You'll say, oh, what's that? Oh, sorry, I don't know. I just found it. And then I'll say, yeah, there was a manuscript. I've just found these manuscripts that shows there was another President Macron in France 2,000 years ago. Just look at this manuscript. You see, this is how they just invented history, and we've got a few manuscripts. Who's writing them? And then what do? You've got university students, and you just save their dissertations, their essays, yeah, from the 19th century, and then you because after they look old, you just keep them in cold places, and they look a bit tatty, and then you say, oh, these are several hundred centuries old, 500, 600 years old, but this is the reality. Yeah, I'll ask you, Raphael. Looking at this type of evidence, where do you think these Arabic coins came from? That they're in all these Germanic settlements in Northern Europe. Do you think they came from the North Pole?
No, well, most likely they were produced there where they occur the most or found the most. That's the most likely.
They were Dutch coins. They were German coins. It was the local people's coins. That's what it was. And then the Vatican invaded, yes, sometime during the Middle Ages, forced people into Christianity. But when people read the Bible after the 19th century, they said, hey, this is a pile of something else. And they just threw it out of the window. And this is why we're seeing widespread atheism. Yes, this is why we're seeing it. And now many people try to use a few predictions that don't seem to come true. Yeah, things like this. But the thing is, it's a little clear. It's like we are going to find Chinese coins in China because they're Chinese coins. Yes, because the people there are using Chinese writing and they use the currency. So we are going to find Arabic coins in Europe. Yes, because the people used Arabic coins, and it's not modern Arabic. This is the language of the Arabic Quran. Make no mistake, people seem to think the modern Arabic language that they're teaching throughout the Middle East is the language of the Arabic Quran. No, it's not. It's a totally different language. This language is found in the old Germanic words. This is what researchers like Professor Fomenko pointed out. This is what I'm pointing out. Fomenko didn't go further into explicitly pointing out, hey, that this Arabic thing, hey, it's your civilization. Yeah, he basically said, hey, it didn't come from there, it's a lie. But if it didn't come from there, the coins didn't come from the North Pole. And then what happened is after the Vatican invasions, like what they called the Crusades against the Holy Roman Empire, which nobody talks about. Everybody imagines the Crusades were against the Middle East. The Crusades regularly started every year in summer, were against the Germanic peoples of Northern Europe. And that's why they call them barbarians. Yeah, they call them barbarians, and they're written in the Vatican documents. Yeah, what did they do? They destroyed everything that was the people's. The people kept the coins because what will Muslims do in the Middle East today? If anything says there is no God but Allah, they treasure it. They decorate their homes with it. So now the people in Germany, in Holland, in northern France, in England, in Sweden, in Denmark, in Finland. We're hearing the same story. The people used these coins that say there is no God but Allah, yes, as a decoration. They're wearing it around their neck. Now, what do we see Muslims wearing around their neck today when they walk around Europe? Something that says Allah or no God but Allah. What do we see Christians wearing? A cross. Yeah, or some people, even if you're not Christian, I sometimes used to carry a cross. Nothing to do with them being a Christian. Yeah, it's because I like the symbol. Yeah, I actually like for example, I personally don't believe in the crucifixion. I call it a hoax. Yeah, it's just another September the 11th. Of course, I'm not going to deny the story is amazing. That one person should say, I've got so much love, I'm willing to die for the sins of mankind because I love humanity. It's a beautiful story, but that doesn't mean it's true. Yeah, but anyway, the thing is, it doesn't make sense that the people of Northern Europe were allegedly Christian, yes, but then they're wearing these necklaces with there is no God but Allah when the Arabic currency was banned. With the Inquisitions in Holland. The Inquisitions in Holland, up to half the people died, and then Holland became a total mess and a disaster. Yeah. Let me just, and the Holy Roman Empire, let me just show you, there used to be crusades. Yeah. Inquisitions, what do you call it? Many people don't know that these crusades, the Vatican used to regularly, that this is common knowledge, basically every year when summer started, that because you're starting from let's say northern Italy, then you're going into France, you're going into Switzerland, you're going into Spain. Every year you're taking a few kilometers of land and enslaving the people. Yes, and what do you call it? Yes, the thing is, every year there were crusades against the Holy Roman Empire, and what they used to do is, let's say, when they turn out, say, knights and soldiers, people seem to imagine something romantic. Let's use modern words. They're inviting the mayors of all these cities or small walled cities, star fort cities, and they're inviting the local coppers, police, saying, join me. Yeah, you join me, you're going to get all the dollars. Yeah, you're going to get all the money, you're going to get everything. You're going to be allowed to enslave them. These are written in the Vatican documents. It's saying seize the land, do this and that, yeah, and then the people won't have no power. Now, in Eastern European documents in Serbia, Croatia, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Poland, yeah, in their languages, even in their current language, the word Christian means to become a slave. This was the meaning just 200 years ago until the dictionaries were updated. I think I've sent you that before, or did I send it to? Yeah. So people can check this in. They can check this in dictionaries. So it basically meant, you've just become a slave. Yeah. The feudal system, medieval slaves, all the way through to the Renaissance. So the thing is, Christianity spread by force. It looks like Islam was the religion of Europe, and then they took it when Islam collapsed. They took it to other parts of the world. This is what it looks like, and they told these people, hey, you memorize it, this, that, everything. And then, yeah, of course, there were people in the other sides of the world, yeah, who took advantage of that Islam's come. The British and the French were involved into creating modern fake Islam, right. And a lot of the religion is fake. Yeah. Let me see. The word refused to the word in Slavic, that it means to become slaves, because many people who will not watch other videos or who've not watched them will probably think I'm making this up. Yeah. And the word Arab, yeah, let me just show Slavic. This is Eastern Europe. Half the people of Europe have some type of Slavic ancestry. Yeah, the word Arab simply meant a man of God, a servant of God, or a servant like Christ who wanted to do good things, charitable things. Yeah, this is what it meant. And to become Christian, yeah, to become Christian was the opposite. Christian meant become a slave of the Vatican, or a peasant. Yes, I found it. Yeah, Christian. In Slavic, it basically, you know, this is in my book, The Last Crusade. Yeah, it meant, you know, somebody who has to pay these people money. Yes, and that's how they set up city-states in Germany. Now, in Germany in World War I, the history is a joke and it's so suspicious. Many people who are not aware of this, but let me just show you an example that you can see that these photographs are a forgery. Now, what you see here is the kings of Europe, you know, Germany, Russia, or wherever, or Belgium, England, and other princes. Yeah, and one, they're telling us that they all had a meeting. One, you can see that they're all wearing the same clothes. Yes, somebody made the same clothes. Clothes weren't that easy to make at that time. Yeah, and the shoes, they're all wearing the same shoes. There's no dust on them, nothing, and nobody's looking at the camera. And it looks like Photoshop. The first man on the left-hand side, the head looks strange. That everything, it looks like that it's a clear Photoshop and something that nobody is looking at the camera. It's a setup. And then the coronation of Kaiser William at where was it, in Paris? What's that palace just outside Paris? That famous palace.
Versailles.
Yes, that's the one. They turn around and say that he got crowned as the Kaiser crowned, yeah, in Versailles. It looks like it's exactly the same. Another setup photograph. Let me just show the German army. The German army in Versailles. Let's see if I can find this picture. I don't have it. Kaiser, German army was in Versailles. That the photograph totally looks like a fake. They're showing that the German army has just turned up at Versailles, and Kaiser's getting crowned, and every single one has got polished boots, brand new boots. In the photograph, that it's a clear forgery. That they just took it just for a photograph to show everybody. Kaiser, German army, and Versailles coronation. Yes. Oh, please don't. Another thing is 1871. Not 1871, not the coronation. It's the other one, not the coronation. I think it's in World War I. Kaiser, German army, Versailles. Yeah. Let me just see. German army, Versailles. Yeah. Or maybe I've got the date wrong. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's see. Behind the scenes. No, I can't find it. Damn, because that is a crucial photo to show. Maybe it's not the coronation. Maybe it's another event. But the thing is, I had a look at that photograph, and it just looks like it's totally bogus. Yeah, that they've just created it there just to show the world. Let's see what time. I can't find it. Cannot find it. But anyway, let's go back to cathedrals. I'm going to look for that picture later. Aachen Cathedral. I'm not sure if it's World War I or after World War II. Yeah, they just put these statues on. Yeah, that if anyone's going to go there today, they'll think it was a Christian cathedral for centuries. I've sent you 3. Then you can take time to open them while I'm looking for that German army in Versailles. Let's see, German army, Versailles. Yes, it was in 1870. It was during the siege of Paris. I'm still looking for it. Still looking. Have you seen the 3 pictures? Yeah, this is how they modified most cathedrals. You can find it, but most cathedrals went through what they allege is renovation and restoration. Right. In the 19th century and in the early 20th century, they modified them. So the thing is, we don't know what cathedrals originally were. Yeah, I'm going to write about them. Yeah, I've discovered a lot of information. Flamenco's passed it on. So I can say I know, but I'm going to say we don't know until I have this information ready. Yeah, it was during the Franco-Prussian War. Yeah, I'm just looking for the photograph. Still cannot seem to find it, but it's another similar photograph. The Kaiser and his army is at Versailles, but Can't seem to find it. I think I'll have to specifically look for it. Any questions, Raphael, so far?
No, I'm, still trying to wrap my head around it, but yeah, definitely it looks like a lot of rubble. And the idea, which is kind of popular, I guess, is that also the glass stained windows were replaced or only inserted during the renovations with Christian symbolism.
Yes. Now, yes, that's true. Now, another thing I noticed that if you look at that Ahmedabad cathedral, which they call a mosque, yeah, I'll send it you again. This is something I found strange about a lot of these cathedrals and mosques. Just take a look at this one. There's no windows, no nothing. Now, if we go to the one in Jerusalem on Temple Mount, Al-Aqsa, now you will see instead of any windows, the walls are just, I found the photograph. Yes, there's several photographs. Now, what you will notice is that the German armies just come here and they're fighting. Yeah, so they were fighting, but the strange thing is all the shoes are clean, their uniforms, everything is clean. You can check through many other photographs and you'll find the same thing. It's totally clean, that you can't see that they've just come from the battle that they say happened before then. There's many photographs of that time. There's many. And it looks like it's just something that they gave them all just clothes on that day. You wear them, you quickly get there. These so-called princes or generals and just wear it. They're all wearing the same thing. And what do you call it? They're showing, hey, this is, what do you call it? The Kaiser William II. There's no evidence that a Kaiser William II even existed. So now let me just show, so because I've been able to show this, let me show you Germany map, what do you call it, Union. Yes, what do you call it, Germany, German Union, what do they call it, Bismarck, yeah? Bismarck just before Kaiser William II. There is no evidence of Bismarck and Napoleon Bonaparte or Napoleon III. This is in my book, Napoleon Did Not Exist. Now, what we will find in Germany, these maps, even these maps in the history, we can't trust it. German principalities in 1800. Yes. So what we can see is that there was a Holy Roman Emperor, but he doesn't seem to be able to control Germany. That because they had these walled cities and people lived in the countryside, and the Vatican said seize these cities, and the Vatican, had the Jesuits based in Paris, the Jesuits and their army based in Paris, yeah, and the French invasion of Eastern Europe, and the Inquisitions from St. Petersburg. Flamenco talks about it. Now, let me just send you a map of Germany, yes, in 1800, that you can see that Germany is a mess. We can't seem to figure it out. A similar thing is in the Balkans, yeah, of the so-called Ottoman Empire and in Eastern Europe. But so now let's imagine these German principalities. They are claiming Kaiser and Prussia, it became Prussia under Bismarck, but it was the Holy Roman Empire before Bismarck. The history of Bismarck is just a fabrication, is just a total invention. And Kaiser William II, that what it looks like is that the Holy Roman Empire, or the Empire of Otto the Great, or the Ottoman, or the Alemannia, this is the Ottoman Empire. And the Austro-Hungarian Empire is part of the same empire, and the so-called the Turkish Empire is the same empire that they're ruling all the way down to Mecca, from Berlin to Mecca. But the problem that they had was these principalities, that you can see similar principalities that turned up in Hungary, Austro-Hungary, that different cities and different regions, yeah, had their princes or kings that were rebelling against the Holy Roman Empire, or what we call the Austrian Empire. That the story of Maria Theresa and the break from the Holy Roman Empire seems like a total lie, because what we can find is this sounds like a total lie, because when I saw this, it just made me realize it's just a total lie, because they turn around and say that Austria around that time managed to break away from the Holy Roman Empire. Maria Theresa, and she became powerful when she married the Holy Roman Emperor Francis I. And Francis I in the 18th century is supposed to be a die-hard Christian king. Yeah, and they're involved in the Balkans and in Eastern Europe against, the Crimean Khanate and the Tatars and the Ottoman Muslims and the Hungarian Muslims that were in Hungary. But we've, even his clothes, even his socks have got Arabic writing. So it just shows it's a total lie. The history of Maria Theresa is a total fabrication. We don't know anything. Is just a total fabrication. And then some of the princes, what we can see is that some of the princes joined the Vatican. And that is when the Holy Roman Empire, which is the empire of Otto the Great, or Otto or Attila, yes, or the Ottoman Empire, Attila's empire, Attila. Atta means like a father, yes, in many Germanic languages. That's why we have the word tat, yeah, or they say Atat, tat, Turk, father of Turks in Turkey, tat Turk, or dad, tat, dad. In English, he's my dad, yeah, dada, yeah. So now these German principalities. So the thing is, Germany, if we notice the strange history of Germany after World War I, that's why we can't seem to be able to find Hitler. The history is a forgery. Yes, Germany in World War I doesn't seem to be defeated. There's something wrong. That the principalities, they say there was 19 major regions after World War I that mysteriously formed this new government after World War I that I can't seem to find either. And then they're saying the burning of the Reichstag because it didn't exist the way that they're telling us. It did exist, but it was something else. Mm-hmm. The history is something else that we can't seem to know the true history of Germany even before World War II. That it looks like Germany, Austria, Hungary, and many places in the Balkans and Turkey, that they had something called some type of old Islam from the Germanic, the Hun and the Slavic people. This is what they had. And they left their coins and everything behind. But within their territories, we've got Greece. Within their territories, we've got the question of Serbia, the question of Croatia, the Albanian Christians, that these so-called mysterious Christian principalities appeared where they've got the feudal system. Yes, and it looks like it was same like the modern world today. There was Muslims and Christians in Europe. So this is why it's very important to bring this history out, because we cannot risk the collapse of Europe ever again, because Europe has become a beautiful place. It took us more than 100 or 200 years to rebuild the homes, to rebuild the sewage systems. We've got a beautiful place here in Europe. I live in Europe, and I don't want to see Europe collapse in 50 years' time. And the thing is, if anybody reads my book, Illuminati Games, and the other books, the Alpha and the Omega Codes, we can see that situations are being formed, created in Europe artificially to cause tension. And another thing is, there's many Muslim madrasas that are teaching some modern type of different, sectarian Islam, which are going to become a problem in 50 years. And the nation states or the people in power are giving these people licenses. In Manchester, I remember I asked the vice mayor, or maybe the third person down, I asked him 10, 15 years ago, I said, why are you giving these schools permits? And he said, I don't know. The command has come from above. I said, what are you doing here? I said, you do know what they're teaching in some of these schools. Yes, so is going to cause sectarianism, division, and people are not going to even study the Quran. They're studying these new books that the British have put in the Muslim museums. Yeah, let me just show you. This is very important because many Europeans and many Muslims who do listen to this, this is so serious that this modern Islam has got actually was created by the British and the French and the Vatican. That they are going to use it when they need it, when they can't control the European people. Now, these injections that they were giving out during the Corona crisis, I don't want to say the other word because, many people don't like it and they censor it. The injections they were giving, Europe was the place that resisted the most. Now, they are going to say the majority of Western Europeans took these injections. The reality is the majority of Europeans actually refused the injections. They're lying about the statistical data. So they knew that Europe has resisted
So,
the people in power.
so
It
all I
seemed like saying,
because this is
yes,
interesting, all I can say is that even traditionally, supposedly Austria was one of the most, the term they use is vaccine hesitant countries, even traditionally, Austria. But Austria and Bavaria were also the places where they had the most restrictions in terms of Europe, maybe aside from Spain, and also the only places, especially in Austria, where they actually passed a law for a mandatory vaccination, or meaning you would be fined if you do
you
not
being serious?
participate.
There is more. Now, this thing I didn't want to talk about. Yeah, but a German lady asked me, and a German lady asked me, and that Dutch girl who I like very much, she asked me as well. Yeah, let me just show you. Let me just show you.
So just before we move over this, what would be your
Now,
estimate?
what am I going to say? Now, I will tell you something. Now, this is in my book, Jerusalem is in Europe. This is very important because Professor Fomenko said that the Old Testament, he didn't just say, he showed evidence that proves it. Yes. Now, people have to study it. Now, in my books, I've made Fomenko easier. Yeah. So let me just show you now. This is a verse in the Bible. Yes. Now, this is very important. Yes. Now, the thing is, Ephraim is the children of Israel. Now, if the Old Testament is describing events in Europe during the Middle Ages, this means that Ephraim is European somewhere. Yes. Now, if you read this verse, it turns around and says, what do you call it? It turns around and says, somebody, I am going to kill their children in their stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Somebody, they're going to say, this is God. Yes. Now another thing is the Germanic peoples, yeah, have amongst the lowest birth rates in the world. They've got amongst the highest number of abortions or miscarriages in the world. If somebody thinks this is accidental, yeah, they can say it, or they'll just say this is just random something that's going on, or is this planned? Yeah, another thing is when you read the Bible, all you can see is the Mohamedan Huns, and then you can see, throughout the Bible, somebody's threatening to kill these children of Israel who are mysteriously called Mohammed. Yeah, let's see now. Let me just go through the Mohamedan Huns. Yeah, the Germans were called Huns. I will mention this again because, like you said, the mandatory vaccinations. People can check this out. Yeah, that the authorities in Europe, the European powers, this is the church. The churches who were in power, yes, called the Germanic people who were not Christian. They called these people Saracens, the sons of Sarah, not the Ishmaelites. These are the children of Isaac. They called these people dog-headed Muslims. They called them the Mohammedan, the Mohammeds. They didn't call them Muslims. And who were the Huns? Yeah, I'm going to go through this again because this is serious, because their birth rate is going low. And is it accidental or is it planned? Everybody knows there's right-wing groups. You can see my photographs. I am not a white man, or let me put it with an accent. I ain't no white man. Yeah. So now the thing is, this is nothing to do with me, and I'm not going to get into the race issue. But the thing is, the German people, Holland, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, yes, the Germanic people, England, Scotland, Ireland, Northern France, Austria, Switzerland, the Hungarians, the Huns, these people were called Huns. They're having the lowest birth rates. It was amongst their places where, like you said, where did they demand that you must have the vaccines? In the heartland of the Germanic peoples.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, and many people know that after these injections, the number of miscarriages has increased. This is another thing. Anyway, yeah, let's get back to the Bible. So now these people in these Middle Age documents, they're called the Mohammedans. Let's see, yeah, let's see what the Bible has to say. The Bible, if it is a document of the Middle Ages, yeah, if it is a document of the Middle Ages, yeah, what do we find? Yeah, what we find is this is in the Bible. Yeah, the Bible is not a prediction of the future. It is a threat. It is a threat of the Vatican. Yeah, the documents within the Bible. It's actually the war between the European people and the Vatican. This is what Fomenko shows. It's European and Western Asian history or Caucasian history. Now, what do we find in these strange verses in the Bible? Yeah, what we find is that like this is the book of Joel in the Old Testament. It says, you have taken my gold and silver and you've taken my whatever. And then there's some threats there. There's a war going on, that you've kidnapped these people and you've put them into slavery. Isn't that what Christianity did? The Vatican did, turn people into peasants. Oh, so now the German people were called the Mohammedans, Holland, Northern French, everything. Let's see what we see in the Bible. This is in the Bible. Now, somebody's going to say the word Muhammad doesn't mean this and that. Yeah. Wait, I just closed that. This is in my book, Jerusalem, is in Europe. But I've been through these before, but I'm going to explain these verses. I knew this. I'm going to explain this in the future book. I didn't put it in the last book. I just pointed out the Mohammed's there. But it actually describes events in Europe. Now, this is from Lamentations. It says the enemy has spread his hand out over all the Mohammedans. So, yeah. Now, the thing is, the Crusades was the Vatican attacking Northern Europe, Central Europe. Yeah, the Balkans. This is where the Crusades were. Yes. This is what people don't seem to understand. And the Mohammedans, who were they? They were, what do you call it, the Germanic people. So the Germanic people are the children of Israel, are from the children of Ephraim. This means that what we call today the Jews, they are Jewish. They are the children of Israel. What we call Mohammedans, they are the Mohammedans. The Mohammedans, Muhammad is not an Ishmaelite. It's a lie. From the Old Testament, we can see that Muhammad is from the children of Israel. And the Vatican promise, we'll see in a minute what he promised to do with these kids, yeah, in their stomachs. So now what we see here, it turns around and says that, what do you call it, the Vatican, when they're doing these wars and Yahweh and everything, they're just attacking these Mohammedans, the wall of Jerusalem. But Jerusalem is in Europe. It's a long story. Yeah, what we can see, who are these Mohammeds in the Bible, these Mohammedans? Who are they? Yeah, this is just the Crusades. Yeah, and what was the Vatican going around doing? They were enslaving people, taking their property. Now, what do we find here? Middle Ages history. The Vatican, yeah, this is a threat from the Vatican, yeah, who God or Yahweh in the Bible. It says, I'm going to send my boys to you, my servants. Yeah, they're going to be searching your house, yeah, and the houses of your people, yeah. And this is what will happen. Anything that belongs to these Mohammeds or Mohammedans, they're going to take it. Oh, by the way, during the Middle Ages, the Muslims were called Mohammedans. And this sounds like the Crusades. This is what was going on in medieval Europe. This was not going on in Morocco or Algeria or Tunisia. This is what was happening in medieval Europe. And the medieval Europeans, Northern Europeans, were called the Mohammedans. The word Muslim is a separate word. The North Africans and the Middle East people are called Muslims. So wait a minute, the Mohammedans are the Northern Europeans. Yes. Yeah, so I'll go through. The worst thing is about Ephraim. The worst thing is, this sounds like a Vatican threat, and because the Bible, Fomenko shows, was still being updated in the 18th and 19th century, and this is what it says: Ephraim, the children of Israel, the Mohammedans, I am going to kill their babies in their stomachs. Is this God, or is this still part of the Crusades? So this is why when the Muslims are not integrating, they are saying the war between the Vatican and the people in power, and the other side is not over yet. And who is Ephraim? Who are the Mohammedans? Now, if the Europeans don't wake up, the Northern Europeans, especially the starting from, Hungary or Vienna, Northwestern Europe, Northern Western Europe.
Let me just say, this is entirely new level of so-called Stockholm syndrome, isn't it? If you get indoctrinated only 200 years ago, and then the brethren that you had back then fled, and they are coming back, and you cannot reconcile with them because you don't realize you share a completely common ancestry and even spirituality.
This is one. Another thing is, today when I went out, I'm in Manchester, I saw some Romanian people. And the Romanian people, I turned around and thought, hey, they're a bit lighter than Turks. That's the first thing I said. I was with somebody in a vehicle. And then I turned around and said, many of them say that their ancestors came from India. But then India on the world map is Africa. This is another thing. But then I turned around and thought, if you, I went to their churches and other things, and I noticed that when they come to a colder climate, they become whiter. And many Moroccans I noticed became whiter. But a major point that I've pointed out is Ephraim, yes, who is the children of Isaac, one of the 12 tribes of Israel, who would be classified as Jewish in modern Judaism. They are the Germanic people, starting from Germany, Denmark, Holland, United Kingdom, England, Northern France, Austria, Switzerland, the Huns of Germany. These people are the Mohammedans. They were classified as Mohammedans during the Middle Ages, and the Vatican was launching crusades against them. And what does it say? I am going to kill their children, Mohammed's in their wombs. Now the population is going down. We don't see these abortion clinics open up.
Okay, I'm sorry. So in a way, you're saying that this is some kind of ancestral or inherited grudge.
This war is not over. Whoever wrote the Bible,
the genocide is still going on.
Even,
but then just to understand properly, because technically, most of those individuals that back then would have been called Mohammedans.
I'll make it simple to you, a Bible prophecy. Yeah, and you are going to see, this is when you will know that God did not write the Bible. Yes. Maybe there was parts of it that's from God, but it's been modified and changed. It says, God says, or this God of the Bible saying, I'm going to punish these people. Yes, to the several generations. Now, the opposite of God is still going to say, I'm going to do the same. Now, if anybody who reads the Vatican documents, it say the Germanic people were called the Saracens, and then the Vatican, yeah, you can check these Vatican letters. They're saying seize the property of the Saracens and turn them into slaves. Yeah, and the Vatican wasn't invading Tunisia or was not invading. Was not invading, Iraq or Iran. They were having their crusades against the Holy Roman Empire. Yeah.
Right. But then just to understand one point, because today
I like this one. One of the Vatican documents for Atlantic slavery, because many people are saying it's the Jews who did this. The Jews are at the heart of the slavery. There is some things that did happen in slavery. 19th of January, the Vatican, this is in my book, Napoleon Didn't Exist, it signed many things, but they say it clearly says seize the property of the Saracens. Now the thing is, the Vatican says this, and the thing is, the Saracens, now they're claiming that it's the Syrians, but the reality is it's somewhere in the Vatican documents from the Middle Ages, where they say seize the property of the Saracens. And here's one I found, like when the Vatican invaded Portugal, Pope Nicholas III, turned them into slaves, turned them into dogs. So at the same time, the Vatican was having crusades every year in Germany. The crusade in the Czech Republic, the Bohemian Crusade, I think they call it. Yeah. Many people don't know about these things. The Bohemian Crusade, the dates have been changed, but the thing is, it lasted for 2 centuries. Against the Waldensians, like you said, the Vikings, Wilkins. The Vikings. It depends which language you're going to say it in. Vikings or Wilkins. Vikings or Wilkins. Yes, it was Germanic people, or Veliki Novgorod. Yes, Fomenko points this out. Yes, that even in Russia, that they were called the Velikings or Veliki Novgorod, Vikings, Veliki Novgorod. Yes, and this is documented that people can go check the trail of the so-called Vikings or Veliki. So now we've got these people from the Veli, yes, or Valley, or Valking, or the Valdensians in Bohemia. Yes. Now the Bohemians, everyone knows in the Czech Republic that these people are half Germanic and that they're half, Slavic, that they interbred. Yeah, that's why they call it Czech and Slovakia. So the thing is that anybody who checks through this history, it doesn't make sense. And then these Russian Korans all over Russia, in Novgorod and everywhere. I've sent you a bit of these things. The history doesn't make sense. And if someone's going to say, hey, one, that the Muslims had the Korans. Now, if we go through one, we can't find these Muslim Korans. And two, any older Muslim Korans that did exist, yeah, the thing is, and these Muslim books, no, that's the wrong page. Let me send you one before that. What do you call it? It's on the same Wikipedia page, and you can check through the names, but let me just send you.
So before we go on, may I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So just to understand this, you sent me the quote about punishing 3 or 4 generations. But what I don't understand is if I take over, let's say, Europe, I Christianize it, and I have all good churchgoers, they already pay their taxes, they follow my new laws and everything. Why am I still attacking them? Why am I still reducing the fertility if I already brainwashed them? Why am I still holding the grudge? For genetics, or what's the reason?
Yes, this is a good question, because the plan of the Vatican when they invaded Europe, yes, the Vatican came from Babylon. Babylon is Cairo. Yes, it is not an empty field with a few buildings that don't even look old in Iraq. Now, the thing is, many people don't know. The plan of the Vatican, yes, has been fixed since the Renaissance. Yes, and the plan of the Vatican is actually humanism. Right, a humanist society. So Christianity was just a tool for the end goal. The end goal, now let me show you.
Okay.
Yes, so this is the end goal. So the end goal, you can find it, humanists who works for the Vatican.
Is the goal, yeah, okay.
Not just atheism, humanism. Now, what is humanism? Humanism is whereby they believe that a human doesn't have a fixed body. That you can change your body, metallic parts, and that's where transhumanism comes into it. Humanists. And who were the humanists? Let me just show you, and then you're going to think, I'm seeing now. Yes, the 1,000 years of fake history was added on by the humanists, by the Vatican, because they hated this 1,000 years. Yeah, the Italian humanists, and they call them Italian humanists. No, they are Vatican humanists after the Vatican invasion of Italy in the 15th century. And what do they tell us? This is from the Britannica Encyclopedia, that these people had invidious, on purpose they use difficult words, because they know that when people read it, they're not going to check the meaning. Now, the humanists who work for the Vatican had hatred. They hated it so much. Hate. I damn hate him. I'm going to jump him. Yeah, if you're in California, but don't jump anybody. The humanists, yes, that they had the idea of 1,000-year period of darkness and ignorance separating them from the Greeks and the Romans. Now, the Roman Empire collapsed in the 7th century or 8th century after Justinian and everything. That's why they say that the New World started around the 17th or 18th century, or the 19th century, to be more precise. So they created this 1,000 years of dark ages because they had hateful intentions. This was their intention. And what was their end goal? Now we have to go through their end goal. Now, their end goal, humanists, let's see what humanism is. Yes, and so transhumanism is just part of this to get to their end goal. So I'm sending, this is in my book, The Crusades. Humanism, that they say, is a rational opinion, not based on God. It means it's your opinion or mine. Now, if you disagree with me, yeah, I'll get rid of you. Yes, this is whoever, the survival of the fittest, evolution. Yes. So now the moral action of and welfare of humanity is important to humanism, but that is only if you live in their territory. Yes. And they say you can live a good life without God. Yes, that's true. But what is the definition of this God? I will explain to you what this definition is. If I'm a humanist, I can pay somebody to work twice as hard in China for 1/3 of the salary. Yes?
Because
You see?
because the humanists always, they like to put themselves as philanthropists too. So just how would you logically reconcile this?
I will explain to you now. Now, humanism don't believe that all life is sacred. I'm going to send you this again so that a clearer thing. Many people can go through this. So if I'm a humanist, it means it's just my opinion. I can change it. In England, we say it's just full of crap. Yeah. It means that I'll show you now. Look at the bottom sentence. Humanists don't believe that all life is sacred. They believe that quality of life is more important than a right to live.
All right.
So that's why if you live in Europe, because we're building Europe first, so this means that the quality of life, I'm going to make sure that people have their cars, transport, everything. But it doesn't matter that if people don't realize...
abortion, obvious topic, yeah.
No, something even worse.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, that when you see this, just for our cars and just for, for our metro lines and everything, yeah, that unfortunately the reality is this. This is why, I'm glad I don't drive. I don't want to drive. It's because the car parts, everything, the steel, metals, God knows whatever they're putting in, different types of metals, everything. People are working for $1 a day. It's just a joke.
Right.
It is just a joke what we're doing. And, if you go to Peru and other countries.
And of course, just one sentence, Germany has been made, of course, the car producing capital of the world, probably also for good reason. So it's all kind of inbound with that human
who is
slavery.
enjoying those cars? Who is enjoying those cars? The rich and the wealthy. We are the rich and the wealthy. Yeah. It's us. We're enjoying it. So now there is some people, yes, in the New World Order who are actually good. Who've gone higher above. I went to a certain point where I was going to keep on going higher, but I know many of these people that many people want to use climate change as an excuse to remove vehicles because they don't know what to do. It is not just the New World Order. It's people in my family and my friends. I told them, hey, when you can use public transport, why do you want to keep this market going? Have you seen how these people are working? Yeah. Do you know what they're going through just to find 1 kilogram of a metal?
Yeah,
they've got to
not
dig
just that.
about...
If the cars were produced differently, they would last 50 years. So that's also the deliberate point, right?
Yeah. The thing is, it's because there's all types of greed. There's another reason why they're doing it. Many people who want to speed up to bring technology. What they want to do, the humanists, what they want to do is for the quality of your life. Like these new, the BMW 100. That modern one. To bring up Vision 100 or version 100 or something. I've forgotten, those cars are amazing for mass manufacturing. I know manufacturing owners in China personally. I know billionaires in China personally who are involved in the manufacturing process over there. Yes, so that when it does Germany might be doing some things, but many of these components and other things are being prepared in China and India.
Sure.
Yeah. So I know many of them, and what they're doing is they're preparing the factories now, the factory machinery in Germany, where they're going to manufacture these car parts in China after 20 more years. So now the thing is, they've already got this in the plan. So now the thing is, there are other people who are thinking, hey, let's destroy the cars while we can. Yeah, saying let's pretend there is a problem with carbon. Yeah, and these are the things. And they're using the actor, that ridiculous girl somewhere in Europe. I forgot her name, some stupid name.
Greta Thunberg, yeah. And she also has a very interesting story because her, I think, great-grand-uncle was the first one to propose that, that volcanoes would cause CO2 problems.
This is the first time I'm going to admit it. Yeah, I'm from a wealthy background. I've been an actor doing these roles many times in my life. It's nobody's business. But this is another reason why I know about the codes and other things because, at the top. So the thing is, I don't know how I didn't end up being selfish. For some reason, there is something I've got a heart, and then there's many other people I know at the New World Order at the top. Many people, anybody can reach there. It depends how cunning you are. Yeah. You can get higher, and the New World Order isn't fixed. Many people think it's some fixed, whatever. There are certain organizations and systems that are fixed, but even they come and go 50 years or 100 years, they break down, things change. Yeah, there is, it's not like how people imagine. Now, there are people who are trying to lie about the carbon tax, because the thing is the people are actually greedy and selfish. What are you going to do? The market wants these goods and products. I had a girlfriend who was doing my head in when she lost a job, and her mobile phone broke and she had no insurance, and she was turning around saying, I want this new Samsung. If you really love me, you're going to get it. I turned around and thought, what the hell is this? Yeah, so she blatantly said it. In other words, borrow me the money when I have my next job. She probably would have paid me back, but I could tell the relationship was going through a dead end. Yeah. So the thing is, I've turned different, and so the thing is, I'm turning around and thinking the only way, there are good people who are up there. Yes, the only way is to bring out the history. Now, many of these good people, they're too afraid, because they're too afraid to speak out with the truth. But they're saying we've got to change. That many of them are genuinely good. They're genuinely good, but they're not going to bring out the history. I think they're going to fail, because there's other forces that are involved that are thinking, hey, we will destroy Europe. They will do anything as long as they stay in power. As long as, because many of them think the money. Yes, they're going to do anything. And I'm telling the Germanic people, yes, this Islam, or the Quran is, if the book was written by any group or any people, I don't know who it was written by. I don't want to offend Muslims. The Muslims say it's the word of God. If it was written by a people, or it came from a group of people, it was already amongst the German people before. It was their system. It was their system and their book, not modern Islam. Modern Islam has been an invention. Yeah, and I will say to the Germanic people, yes, that you should have a look at your history. Yes, you should have a look at your history and other things. Let me just show you what the European colonial powers from Britain and France. There is no evidence that they're Caucasian white people who ran the colonial empires in England and France and the Vatican. The evidence shows they came from Babylon, Egypt. Now many Quran manuscripts that we find are actually in Northern Europe. Now, the Quran manuscripts in the Middle East that we've got today, yes, what we find, I've told the Muslims this. Now, we have these, many people say that they're crackpots, making crazy videos, trying to cause hatred or whatever, saying 11 differences on one page of Quran manuscripts. And look at what he says. I mentioned this before. He says, in Muslim sources, Muslim manuscripts, I thought the Muslims would have woke up and this news would have spread fast. It's spread a little, but it's not enough, because the Muslims have got to go through the fake manuscripts and the fake Muslim documents. When the British and the French invaded their territories, yes, I'll send this again. It's in the Wikipedia. It is well known that the British, the French, the Spanish, or the Vatican armies destroyed Islamic books. Yeah, they destroyed Muslim Qurans, and then what they did was they created new Quran manuscripts. Yes, Quran manuscripts, and they had committees. Yeah. That set up these new Quran manuscripts. You can check the Cairo edition. This is probably up to 1/3 of the Muslims use this worldwide. 1/3 of the Muslims. Now, this Quran manuscript was compiled by Bergstrasse. Yes, one of the principalities from Germany, and Jeffrey and other people. Yeah, who were in organizations. Let's see. Yes, organizations linked to the Vatican and Masonic organizations. So how can anybody turn around and say that these manuscripts are British? I mean, I remember once I mentioned Stalin's Quran. Oh God, that's another one. Yeah, I can't believe the Muslims think this is a genuine Quran. Lenin and Stalin sending a Quran. Yeah, Stalin, Quran, Tashkent, and they're saying this is one of the oldest Qurans in the world. Yeah, let's just see this. Stalin and Lenin, Joseph Stalin. Yeah, it just sounds like a joke. Yeah, Stalin and Lenin sent this Quran. Lenin sent it halfway to somewhere to Ufa. Yes, Stalin sent it to Ufa, and then no, Lenin sent it to Ufa, and Stalin continued it and sent it to Uzbekistan, and they claim that this is a Muslim document. Wait a minute, Lenin sent this? And they're saying, oh, we want the Muslims to become atheists, and we're fighting for the revolution. We're killing people, you know, with our communist armies, except the Muslims. The Muslims can have the Qurans, but the Christians can't have the Bible, with burning churches, etc. Yeah, but oh no, Muslims can have Qurans. We're actually sending them a Quran from St. Petersburg. It just so happens to be the oldest or one of the oldest Qurans in the world. And what do we find in this so-called old Quran in the world? Yeah, this Quran, and then what do you call it? We've got these crackpots. I call them crackpots now because they're deliberately trying to make the Muslims think that this is a genuine Muslim manuscript. This is one. Two, they're trying to create conflict as well. Yeah, I call them crackpots. Yeah, the thing is, have a look at this. So now, anybody who has a look at this Samarkand Quran and compares it to the Egyptian Quran, we find differences in the spelling. Yes, we find differences in the spelling that if any Muslims have a look at this, it's time to wake up. The Cairo Quran, the British put it there, the British compiled it. Before, when I sent this Jeffrey and Bergstrasse, they compiled it with other people. Who the hell are they? Yes? So Muslims in the Middle East now, all you can see is that there's all these differences between both of them. Now, both of these Qurans, one's from Lenin. By the way, there's no, Lenin couldn't even speak Russian. Many people don't know this. Yeah. Yeah. The modern Russian language was only invented after Lenin and Stalin. Lenin couldn't speak modern Russian. Yeah. Yes. By the way, he couldn't even speak, yeah, modern Russian. He could, yeah, it's just a joke. Yeah. He spoke more German properly, and he couldn't speak modern Russian. Wait a minute. Let me just find this. That he spoke some old Russian. Wait, let me just find this. Because there's videos. Lenin is politically speaking. I suffered. Stalin is celebrated. Yeah. It's in one of my books. Which one? Right, let me see now. Books. Which book is it in? Do you have any idea, Raphael?
Which part?
Which book is it in, the invention of the modern Russian language? 17, Napoleon, Jerusalem. I think it's in the Orphan Trains book. Now let me see. Yeah, let me just see. No, it's not here. Matrix codes, Greece, Lemuria. Let's see. Is it in this one? No, it's not in there. It's not in there. But anyway, the modern Russian language was invented during the era of Stalin. They modified it so much that people couldn't speak that old Russian. And Lenin's Russian was totally different. Yeah. But anyway, what we're hearing here is some fraud. Yeah. Now you tell me, if I turn around and say that what do you call it? I'm organizing the Soviet invasion of Hungary. Yes, everybody knows about many Soviet atrocities. The Soviet army. What year was it in? 56 or 65?
I think 56 already. It must have been pretty soon after the Second World War, I believe.
Yeah. Many people know how they behaved. So now imagine if I'm the Soviets and I've just turned around and said this is Hungarian history. Is anyone going to believe it?
Yeah, right. Hungary has been especially plagued by like revisions every few years, you know. You get
Yeah.
communism, then you get capitalism, and then, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, if Stalin is going to be saying that this is the history of Germany, is anyone going to believe this, or Hungary? Will anybody believe it?
Yeah,
Yes or no?
well, nobody should, but it will be the indoctrination program,
Yes.
of course, yeah.
So now we've got the British Empire and the French Empire and the Vatican. They are compiling the current written Quran that's widely used. Yes, the Cairo edition. Should anybody accept this?
Well,
Should
not if they want an unadulterated version.
And what about Stalin's version?
Same thing. I mean, I don't think anybody would trust Stalin from this historical perspective right now.
Of course not. So now this is why I turned on and said the oral Quran. Yes, and the spellings, what they did was they made sure it matched with the modern Arabic, which has been imposed on the people in the Middle East and North Africa. Yes, this modern version of Arabic, Moroccans, Algerians, Tunisians, Syrians, Iraqis, many of them couldn't speak it before the Second World War. Yes, that's another long story. But the thing is, let me just find this: the Russian language, the Russian state, Russian language. Oh no, it's not the language. No, I'm trying to find this for Stalin. Well, anyway, Stalin, you can't trust him. Yeah, the Russian language, the French language, and everything. We'll talk about it another time. But anyway, the thing is, I actually got worried this time when I saw the riots in France, especially when the state actors and the fake people getting involved in the riots. You could see people with hooded tops and masks that we don't know who they are. They're jumping out of cars, and they're not actually the local people in these Paris suburbs or anywhere. That you can see that they're not local people who are rioting. That many of these people, you can see the videos, they're jumping out of cars. Many people, a Dutch lady, she sent me some information, and another man from Holland sent me a video saying, look at this, strange people are jumping out of cars. Yeah, and they're joining into the crowd. And they're mysteriously going towards cars, and they seem to have the, what is it? Is it petrol or gasoline ready to, like set fires and things like this? Same like the riots in Black Lives Matter, many professionals. I remember them. Manchester had riots about 10, 15 years ago. And I saw professionals there, and I know that road very well in Piccadilly Gardens, that nobody is going to start kicking shops to actually break into the shops to take out electronics or other things, that they were breaking into the shop windows, that those people were like professionals, almost like they were trained to keep the glass windows down. They weren't afraid of the glass falling on them. So it's like you can see that there were state actors or by other groups. Yeah. Well, anyway, any questions?
Yes, just
Raphael.
one thing as we are on the topic of languages. Are you familiar with the Berlitz language school and the immersion technique of learning languages?
Yes, I'm familiar with it. Now, the technique, I'm not familiar with
So
that.
the basic, just in one sentence, the basic idea would be that Berlitz somehow, got the biggest language school ever with all kinds of advertisement already in the late 19th century. He has this immersion technique, whereas you get a, whole staff of teachers and they teach you by surrounding you with the language, meaning you could learn any language very quickly. And the question then would be, with the resetting of the language, could it be the other way around that, let's say, a group of, let's just call them Jesuit priests or whatever, or students, get educated, they get sent to different parts after whatever empire or structure or system is shattered, and then they just teach a new national language to the elite class, and within a few, months they could teach it, and within a few years you have a new system set up.
They didn't teach the elite class. They did
right.
something else. Orphan children, they taught the children.
Of course, yeah.
What you would classify as lower class. So this is in my books, Orphan Trains. That's how they taught the Russian language, and then it spread the French language and other things. Yeah, but the thing is, in Europe, I don't know if anybody else can see this, but Europe looks like it's going to be a disaster in 50 years. I don't think that the New World Order is going to be able to control this Islam. And the Muslims, I don't think they're going to be able to make them integrate. I genuinely don't think so. This is my opinion. Now, the thing is,
there has to be reconciliation within the people themselves.
Yeah. The thing is, I will explain to you why they're not going to be able to succeed. How are they going to integrate Moroccans who are in Amsterdam and Rotterdam, or in Paris, or in Marseille, or Lyon, or Nice, or Cannes, or in Toulouse, or Bordeaux, or in Metz, or in Strasbourg? How are they going to do this when they are going to tell the Moroccans in school? Let's say when the Moroccans go to school, because this is the level that you start integration. When they turn around and say that your people invaded Europe, your people forced people, to become Muslims, and then we kicked you out by the 20th century. Yes, and that's why there's Arabic coins here. And then the Moroccans are going to say, wait a minute, we'll just make a phone call to our cousins in Morocco. We can't find these coins here. And then a few of them who are going to be intellectual are going to say, this is just garbage. Our history shows that we ran out of Andalusia or southern Spain. Yes, and then because of the heat, many of us got darker skinned, and then we interbred with maybe some black people only in the 20th century. Yes, that many people can remember this. They're not stupid. Yeah, so they're going to say, no, those Arabic coins, they actually belong to the Germanic people, that their ancestors were Muslims, but they were forced. If my ancestors were forced to become Christians and Catholic or Protestant, I would be very angry that they raped my great grandmothers, that they tortured, burnt these people, drank their blood, and the skulls and bones are inside the churches. This is in my book, In Skulls and Bones. They dumped them inside the churches, closed the doors. Yeah, because many people, if anybody has a look at the Caris catacombs, they were only discovered recently, and then the bones don't even look that old. They only look like they're 200 years old. That they killed the ancestors of the Franco-German people. That they chopped, that they tortured my great grandparents, and then I've just found out. I would turn around and think, hey, there's something wrong here. And then the people who I've been told is my enemy, or the people who have got, this crazy terror and all these things, that they've got all this hatred. They've not got hatred against me. I'm Germanic. They don't hate me. They hate the people who did this to me, and they hate what I think and what I believe, because this is not true history, and the evidence doesn't show this. No, I mean, it's same like I went to China and I found German coins all over China. Then I would turn around and say, hey, somebody's lying about something here. This means that the Chinese people probably spoke German and wrote German here, a few centuries ago. This is what I would naturally conclude. So now they've told us a history. Yeah, it sounds a bit normal. It came from the Moroccans. They invaded, they raped Europeans, they did this and that. This is what they're telling us. And now they're showing us, these Moroccans, Algerians, Tunisians, Syrians, Iraqis, Turks, Albanians, Kosovans, Bosnians, Iranians, that they're in European cities and they're behaving barbarous and out of control, but they all just happen to be Muslims. Come on, we know what's going on. Many people are seeing the web posts, even on Facebook. Many people are saying these are Muslim riots. This is by Muslims. They're uneducated. They're backwards. That they're multiplying. This sounds like the story in the Old Testament when the children of Israel were multiplying. Yes, in the land of Pharaoh. Yes, and then they had to enslave them. But the reality is, if anybody turns around and just looks and thinks, hey, they did this to the Germanic people. I'm not asking people to turn around and think, hey, let's find the Vatican. Those days are over. Let's launch crusades against, Christianity. Christianity is basically dead in Europe. Everybody knows this. Yeah. What I'm asking people to say is, look, before it's too late, before Europe falls apart, yeah, People should look at what the religion of their ancestors were. I'm not asking anybody to become Muslim. I'm asking people to find the history, and then it will be easier to tell and say, hey, these people follow the same thing like our ancestors.
Yeah.
And then the hatred that these people actually do genuinely have, yeah, the Muslims can't deny it. Yes, there is an element of hatred there towards Western history. Yes, and because there's been a lot of Western invasions and attacks, so the hatred is there in history. It will go. If the Europeans woke up tomorrow morning and they said, hey, we recognize this history as a lie. We recognize it is our ancestors that had Islam. It is our ancestors that had the Quran. And it looks more likely that Islam went to you from us and that you preserved it. This is what it looks like. And then after this, Europe's a beautiful place. Nobody's saying become Muslim. And then to bring out the lies in history and to show the current Muslims that a lot of the Sharia that they follow, yes, was invented by the Vatican and colonial powers when they went, because with the Sharia law, you enslave people. This is the same law that they used in Christendom. Yes. Yeah. So that's why when you look through that Burkha post, let me send it you again, and then we'll finish today's conversation. When you look through this Burkha post, it is Sharia law. Yes, it's because what happened is at that time you will see that the decorations necklaces were there is no God but Allah. So this is the ancestral religion of the Dutch people, the German people, but what they were forced into Christianity. That many of the regulations and the laws that came with it and the Burkha was actually by force by the Vatican. And then you will say, why would you create something to remove it? Yes, they created communism. They removed it. They've created capitalism. And it is a matter of time whereby they're going to remove it. Everyone knows that they're talking about in England and many other places, say, hey, you can't have more than X number of properties. You can't earn this number of, you can't do this, you can't do that. You are going to have to pay carbon tax if you travel, this, that. They are going to do this. You understand? Because their aim and objective is humanism. Yes, and humanism is the end game. Yeah, humanism is whereby they say Pico de la Mirandola. I didn't read this out before. Yes, but it's in my book, in the Crusades, is humanism. And this is the Vatican's aim. And the Vatican came from Babylon, which is ancient Egypt, where you could find it. Dog-headed people and other things. Humans don't have a fixed abode nor a form. Yes, nor any function which is particular to themselves. Yes, and so in other words, you don't have a fixed body. You're not male, not female. And this is something else to do with some elements of Kabbalah, yes, which the Vatican invented, which I'll have to go through next time, yes, where they turn around and say that, Adam was created, not a man and a woman. Adam was transhuman. This is what they say. But the Quran says a different story. It says that when Adam was expelled from paradise, it says in plural that Adam and many other people get out of this so-called paradise. That's another long story. But anyway, the meanings of the Quran, yes, you can't just check in modern Arabic. A lot of it has been falsified, all these translations, because a lady from Canada asked me today. Yes, you actually have to look at common global languages, just 2-3 generations ago, Old High German and many other languages. And when you find the common word between Germanic and Old Arabic, let's say in Egypt and Morocco, or in Russia, or in Germany, or in England, when you put all of these connections together, this is where you will find a correct meaning of the Quran, because a lot of the meanings and translations have been falsified. Even the modern Arabic meanings, the modern Arabic dictionary has been changed, updated. So let's leave it at that. And there's somebody in Holland, I forgot his name. He's you could find him on Facebook. Yeah, his Facebook. Yeah, I don't know his Facebook name. Let me just find his Facebook profile. And I'll send it you if anybody wants to add him. I think he's going to make a web page or website soon. Yeah, that he is trying to go through the root meaning of Arabic words, yeah, and he is an expert, yeah, he's an actual expert, and he's doing a lot of investigations. This is his name, yeah. And by the way, yeah, I posted a video on my Facebook. I'll send it you, add it on the last 10-11 minutes, because now there is a scandal going around that you know, many people are using PayPal, Patreon. I've not made a PayPal, I've not made a Patreon. I'm not making any money out of this except for the books. Yes, but anybody can check. My books are A4 size, and then the printing quality, you can check and upload my book manuscripts yourself onto Amazon and check how much the printing costs are. And then you'll see the amount of money I make. And then you'll see that the amount of money I've made and the amount I've given to charity. Yeah, I'll send you a copy of that video. I'll upload it and I'll send it to you. Just add it on so that if anybody does buy my books, I'd like you to know, so far, as far as I know, for the last 3 years, every penny, yes, all the up to the date that the video was made, May this year or June. I'm not sure when I uploaded the video or when I got it made. I haven't kept a penny. Yes, that if anybody's going to turn around and say it to me, yeah, because yeah, there is people who are making PayPal, Patreon. Yeah, some people are doing genuine work, and you know, they're making small amounts of money, but many people are saying I'm profiting huge and thousands of dollars. I've basically given every penny away. Yeah.
So then
And
let me just say I'm very
yeah, go
grateful
ahead.
for all the information you provide. I have a PayPal, but also I haven't received any donations yet, so just in case anybody wondering. But I'm very, very happy
You've
to.
done a lot of good work.
But
Raphael's done a lot of good work. Yeah. Raphael lives in Europe. If you want to donate to him, be my guest. Yeah. The thing is, you know, he lives in Europe, so he's got a first world lifestyle. To me, yes, personally, I never donate to anybody in Europe because, shall I be honest with you, if you ever go and see how these people live, shall I be honest with
of
you,
course,
I turn around and think, why has God done this? This is another thing. This is between me and God. I can't figure out. They're actually living terrible lives, Raphael. I really don't know what to say.
yeah.
Sometimes this is between me and my personal, you know, conflicts of interest with God that it's beyond understanding, beyond reason. But then God is going to say, you know, the Quran actually says it's not God that's causing many of these problems, it's man. Yeah. Now the Quran was in Europe, and the Quran actually says that it was a message, it was sent out to the world, whoever sent this message out. But the thing is, yeah, to me, if anybody asks me, yes, or what Fomenko shows, Professor Fomenko shows, I've never said this before, but not even in my books, yes, but Professor Fomenko openly shows that this man called the Prophet Muhammad did not exist in Arabia. A man called David Spencer or somebody from America, many people say he's a right-wing Christian, but he shows some genuine work, historical work, to show that the history of the Prophet Muhammad is just a fairy tale. It's like a scam, that he didn't exist in the Arabian Peninsula. And Fomenko shows the only Prophet Muhammad that they can find, yes, or who used this name, was the man that they called the Great Muhammad, or the Sultan Muhammad, or the Emperor Muhammad, yes, who came with his soldiers, with Slavic soldiers, yes, and Russian soldiers, yes, and Germanic soldiers, and German soldiers, and Austro-Hungarian soldiers, and they called this the Ottoman Empire, or the fake Turkish Empire, and they invaded Jerusalem, which was Istanbul. And that's where the Vatican had taken over from Babylon. And the Vatican are the people of Pharaoh, and Babylon is Cairo. And the thing is, transhumanism, this is why we see strange creatures, dog-headed and other things in ancient Egypt. It's another long story. Yes, but people will be able to put the points together themselves. Now, because of the fake history that we know, anybody who studies this Sultan Muhammad is going to imagine the Sultan Muhammad of the Turks. No, that's just an invented fairy tale and an invented story. Yes, but the one that Fomenko shows is the army of the Slavs and the Huns. This is the Germans, and they're invading the Vatican capital in Jerusalem. And this is when the Vatican had to flee, and mysteriously they went to southern Italy and their invasion of Italy, and the humanists appeared and in Italy. Yes, and they're claiming that Europe was in the dark and we saved Italy by giving it a rebirth or renaissance.
Renaissance,
yes.
yeah.
Europe wasn't in the dark. Looking at Cologne Cathedral, yes, the foundation. Does anybody who knows construction just study the foundation of land and doing a building and the hard work that has to go through it? And anybody who looks through these things will understand that Europe was no backward civilization. We cannot find these type of things throughout North Africa. I'm talking about away from the coast. Yes, in these so-called cities that were involved in gathering armies to invade Europe with Islam, and where these so-called fairy tale coins come from. They're not Arabian coins, they're European coins. Yes, I'll leave it at that. And nobody's saying Europe should go back to the Burkha. I'm not saying Europe should go to the Koran or something, or to Islam. I'm saying Europe should, the Europeans, anybody who is an intellectual, please study this. Or anybody who wants to avoid the disaster for their grandchildren or great-grandchildren in Europe should turn on and think, hey, before we have a disaster, yes, of what happened in the German Confederation, that's the name, Germanic states, and the Holy Roman Empire fragmented into states, we have got the chance for us to participate to build this new world order. They are building a new world order. This is a new world. Now, before they bring a dictatorship with their forced way, we can build one and join in too. Now, they know that there's billions there in the third world who are not going to accept being poor. And these people, there's billions of them. They just want to cross the border into the United States or cross the border into Europe. They're not going to stop. And their birth rate is high. So now the thing is, let's get the history correct. Let's remove the selfishness. I'll send you a copy of the video. And the thing is, I actually make a plea to people, when you travel to the third world, keep contact with people, keep their WhatsApp numbers, everything, send them regular money. Let's help to build a better world. I don't trust these charity organizations. And Raphael, you've done a lot of good work. Even though you live in this side of the world, you've done hard work. Yeah. And so I hope people give you money too. And I've told you, anybody who buys my books, that's where the money has gone so far. Yeah. I'm hoping to get married next year. So if anybody buys my books, maybe if I turn out to be poor, which I doubt, then I'll use some of the money towards my wedding.
Yes, that's perfect. And
if I get married next year.
Also, let me just
Let's
say,
leave it at that.
as you previously mentioned with, I believe you mentioned Romania and so on, I want to say again, because I also have friends doing this, this is the way to do. If you really want to help someone, especially in the third world or something, you cannot rely on institutions, because by now, we know who's running them and who's wasting the money. It's really about knowing yourself, the people that are helping, or knowing the people that you're helping. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, we all travel, don't we, to countries that have got poor people. So what to do is just meet a few people, keep their WhatsApps, add them on Facebook, and then many of these people, they harass you for money. Oh my God, it's a nightmare. The thing is, I kept contact with people in Peru, and the thing is, they were so poor, they can't believe I'm sending them money. You're not going to believe what they asked me. These so-called Christian organizations from Europe are not really handing out money to the shanty towns in Peru. Yeah. It's a lie. Because one family, do you know, one girl, she turned around to me and she turned around and said, "Is there something you want? Do you want, like a favor in the bedroom, things like this?" Because she thought, because many of these people,
they're used to the Christian church, so what to say? I'm not commenting further.
They're abusing things. They are abusing things. Many people who are working in charity organizations in Latin America. Not only that, she even turned around and said in the message saying, "Are you an angel?" She couldn't believe I was human.
Wow.
She couldn't. I'm not joking to you. Oh, this girl was attractive too. I actually gave her and her family money because they're really poor. They're living like, I don't know what to say. I don't even know. It's like, why are we alive in this side of the world if we can't help these people?
Yes.
What is the purpose of our life? Just to have a house, car, holidays? I mean, what do we want to achieve? So
Built on
that's
the
why my
sweat and
book,
blood of the rest of the world, this can certainly not be the conclusion of the story. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, for me, my number one thing that I want to achieve is helping the people in the third world. And if I can, to save people in this side of the world from being brainwashed from lies. And if I can, to avert a disaster in Europe in 50 years' time or 100 years' time. Yeah. So the thing is, I'll send you the charity video because actually I don't like it. Some evil people in some blogs have been saying that I'm profiting. I'm doing my own work. So what if I'm selling the books anyway? But yeah, thank God. Somebody will say, why do I have these videos anyway? After I meet the people, I have people distributing money. So now I don't trust even the people that I know. So they have to go and they've got to send me a video on WhatsApp that they gave the money. And other people who received the money, they've got to send me a WhatsApp video saying, I've just collected the money, I've received it. You understand? Otherwise, I don't believe people. Yeah, even the poor people. So, yeah, the poor people will harass you. But I hope that it's up to us. I think in Europe, Europe is the heartland. And I think in Europe, if we can change, we can actually help the rest of the world. And even the people in power, they will be satisfied saying, hey, these people are not so greedy. We're not in threat anymore. They're not going to remove us from, no, because the people in power, the reason why they become dictators and they're making all these schemes and plans and number 19s and 33s, do you know why? It's because they are afraid they're going to lose power. They are afraid of what the situation could be. Now they are going to make sure that they're going to leave this thing in Europe ready for disintegration if at any time they feel they're going to lose Europe. Because they know that people in Europe agree. People want more pensions, more money for this, more money for electric, more money for gas. Yeah, people want these things. Now, people are going to say, how am I supposed to live? I'm cold here. Just go to Ukraine and see how they're sleeping in winter, some of these villages. And then just have a look at how much electric we use. Go to Ukraine and see many families don't have the television switched on, just have one lamp. Yeah, just switched on in the evening and they'll just sit there and talk, doing nothing. And then when we turn and think how much money we've got and how much we're spending, yeah. And then somebody's going to just go to Ukraine and see people who are just having, I forgot, borscht soup, yes, with, with just bread every day without meat and all these other things, salads and fruits, yeah. And they're still healthy, they're still big. You can't say the Ukrainians are short in height. I think on average, they're a bit taller than people in France and Spain. I'm not sure, but I think they are, yeah. Yeah, so the thing is, when you go and see this, that's when you realize and think, hey, we are a bit more selfish. Yeah, and the amount of food we're wasting in the middle class and everything, we waste a lot. Look at many of these weddings, the thousands and thousands that they're spending. It's just becoming ridiculous. It's in my family too. I don't want to say anything. I spoke about it and then somebody turned around to me and said, oh, you're cursing them. I turned out, thought it's just getting ridiculous. People are spending 100,000 euros on weddings now. I'm being seriously more than this, actually. Preparations leading up to it. And then the thing is, then they're saying, I'm very charitable, me. I donate to charity from my salary. The ridiculous
Which never
thing.
arrives, yeah.
Yeah, and even if they're doing it, the thing is, we've got a lot to go. People are dying from starvation. And not just the dying, the suffering. Oh, it's just, I'm being honest with you that I don't know what to say. Anyway, Raphael, let's leave it at that. I'm going to send you
Thank you, David.
A 10-15-minute video. Upload it at the end of this, add it on, because unfortunately it's hurting me what these evil people are saying. If you don't want to upload it, don't do it. It's
no, of course I will.
Yeah.
No, it's just what it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, take care. Have a nice day. Okay.
Thank you, David.